So, I wanted to come on and talk to you a little bit about my last business trip. I had posted before that I was going to try to send my guides before me to the airport, and I wanted to tell you guys how that went. So, I received a tip from a woman, I think her name on Instagram is Jane the Empath, and she was talking about sending your guides before you're going to go to a stressful situation or before you're going to be in a big group of people. So I had this trip coming up, the business trip, and I don't really like to be away on business. It's one of my least favorite parts of my job. So I wanted to try this tip. So I set the intention first that this flight and the trip were going to be full of love and peace, and it was going to be the best trip that I'd ever taken. I was not going to be stressed, I wasn't going to be anxious, and I had set that intention from the very beginning. So when I woke up in the morning, the very first thing I did before I even got out of bed, I imagined panels of light just going over my body, just going over like a body scan, up and down my body, just love and peace and love and peace. And I sent my guides to the airport before me. Now, it takes 45 minutes to get to the airport, and my husband's driving. He's a morning person. I'm not a morning person. He's a morning person. But we ended up leaving the house later than we should have. So I had about 25 minutes to get to the airport, and my husband does not drive quickly, like I said. So I started to get nervous, but I was like, no, it's going to be okay. We're going to get there on time. Ended up getting there with like a few minutes to spare. And on the way to the airport, I started thinking about, Reiki, and I started thinking about energy, and I thought, I've never sent energy through an airport, but I know that I can. I know I could do it, and I could do it, while I'm sitting in the car, I can send energy through the airport. So I started thinking about the outline of the airport, and I started filling up the airport with ultraviolet light. I use ultraviolet light because I'm an Odin Reiki master. So we use ultraviolet light, but you can use regular light. I filled the airport up with light. And I did the panels again. I imagined love and peace just coming down the walls and going through the airport, all the way through. When I got to the airport, there was a line. There was like a long line, and I started getting nervous again a little bit. And I was like, no, whatever, everything's going to be fine. I got out of the car up to Delta. I was flying Delta, and now there's only 3 people in the line. 3 people. So I went through, dropped my bags off, went through security. Everything was so calm, so easygoing, so awesome. So I don't like to sit in the middle seat. I don't know who does, but I typically fly Southwest so that I can avoid being in the middle seat, and I can pick my own seat. So I flew Delta because I didn't have a choice with the time that I needed to be there, and I got the middle seat. So before I got on the plane, I thought, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to send love and peace throughout this airplane. I'm going to set the intention that my trip is going to be amazing, that my flight's going to be great. I'm going to be sitting by 2 awesome people, and everything is going to work out. So I'm going to my seat, and I see a woman sitting on the aisle seat and a man who's sitting by the window. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have the middle. I'm going to have to, ask you to get up so I can sit there. And she's like, you know what? She's like, I'd rather have the middle seat if you don't mind. She's like, do you mind sitting on the aisle? And I was like, no. Awesome, yes. I will sit in on the aisle. Like, that's fine. Perfect. Now I don't have to sit in the middle seat. It's been years since I've sat in the middle seat. So that happened, and my plane ride was awesome. We got there early. The airport I was flying to was Atlanta, and if you guys have flown into the Atlanta airport, it is busy. I think it's one of the busiest airports, so it was crazy, right? I did the same thing I did with the airport I was flying out of, and I filled that airport up with so much peace and love and set the intention that everything was going to be fine, and it was. And I did it on the MARTA. The MARTA is not my favorite thing. It's like an underground transportation, and I filled that up with love and peace, and I just had such a high vibe that I kept, and my vibration was so high, my intent was so high. I made sure that I sent my guides to the airport, the other airport, the Atlanta airport before I got there too. Um, and I thought this is amazing. I kept thanking my guides. I kept thanking the universe. I kept thanking, being so grateful. And so each experience that I had got better and better. I got to the hotel. They had a room ready for me. They never have a room ready for me that early. I usually have to wait until I work all day and then come back to get my room. But they were like, oh, we have a room ready for you. You can go ahead and go up and refresh, drop your bags off. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like this is awesome. Why didn't I do this sooner, right? And it really enforced in me how important it is for you to keep that high vibration and to set that intention. And I, it's not that I don't, there could have been grouchy people at the airport. There could have been grouchy, upset people at the airport. But because my vibration was so much higher and I had set that intent, there was, they didn't come into my reality. They didn't come into my space. They weren't a vibrational match for me, right? Because I wasn't going to have that. I was going to create the reality I wanted to create for this business trip, and that's what I did. So I wanted to come on and just give you guys an update on how that went. Also, I really like this tip about sending my guides to places ahead of me. I think that it really helped me to feel more relaxed. So I'm going to continue doing that, especially as an empath. Big events, concerts, anytime that I'm going to go to a big place I might be uncomfortable with, is to set that intention, send my guides, and